lodge a complaint in respect of a variety of offenses which have been committed by the Deputy President. Our complaints are on 4 broad categories. 1, incitement to violence. The second one is abuse of office. We have gotten an assurance from the Director of Criminal Investigations, because nobody is above the law, that Mr. William Ruto will be required to come and record a statement to the formal charges which are now being prepared. And our team of lawyers are working together with the Director of Criminal Investigations to expedite this matter as quickly as possible. We are very small people in society. We don't own choppers 5 or 6 to give to another person to campaign. We don't own 4,000, 10,000, 100,000 acres in Taita Taveta. We don't own 5,000 acres in Transmara.
All right, so that is James Orengo. One may wonder what he is referring to, but he's talking about one Kalonzo Musyoka, who sometimes last week, I believe it was on Friday, went to the DCI to register a complaint against one DP Ruto for claims that he procured some piece of land in Yatta constituency, and that land was legally acquired, so he's distancing himself from such kind of allegations and wants the Deputy President taken before a court of law for such kind of accusations. And joining us now is Senator Isaac Mora, who is a nominated Senator of the Jubilee Party. Good morning, Senator, and apologies for the technical hitch you've been experiencing since 6:30 a.m. But when you look at these stories, of course, the politics of the weekend, but also what we see Kalonzo Musyoka complaining against DP Ruto, what do they tell you 18 months to the election for one vice president who of course, would have wanted to succeed his boss, and now a deputy president who wants to succeed his boss? What are you dealing with politically?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sam. I think I want to say that it is very clear, you know, everybody is trying to find relevance because they can see that Deputy President William Ruto is unassailable, actually. And they are now trying to find scandals or things that are going to make them popular. I mean, because that drama that we saw at the DCI was really unnecessary. I don't even think it gained traction. And that's also you can hear, you know, our competitors now also starting to enumerate, you know, personal property, which cannot be verified, actually. But also, even if that were to be the case, the question would be, I mean, right now, why now? Because, of course, they can see the Hustler Nation narrative has gained traction and that people are now resonating with it. And they're even going further ahead to distort, you know, what has actually happened by trying to incite Kenyans against each other on the basis of class. And we are saying that that's not the case. We ourselves, we want a new, you know, paradigm shift. We want to see where that Kenyans are able to compete on the basis of ideas and equal opportunity for everybody despite their ethnic background, despite their social status, and despite my father, whose father you are. I mean, who was your father? Who was your, what is the region you come from? That is a new Kenya that we are looking at, Sam.
Right, and so now they are saying that the Deputy President will have to be required to go register or record a statement to the DCI. I mean, politicians have all along been accusing each other of all manner of things. Is it time that they start being accountable for what they say?
Don't be hoodwinked by those kind of theatrics. Why? Well, I mean, this recording of statement was voluntary, isn't it? It was not out of ceremony. And so therefore, why would you want to ask someone else to do what you did out of your own volition? Is it not just people wanting to get into the mud and trying to fight you? They're just trying to find, scores to settle, which are unnecessary. I don't think the Deputy President has not been summoned by anyone. I don't think he has any reason to go to DCI. And we will keep on seeing those kind of things, but they are just distractions as we are moving forward with the Hustler Nation. Ideology is no longer a narrative than ideology. And we hope that then the others, when they are doing catch-up, they'll actually join us within the Hustler Nation so that we can build the country together.
And there's a question, Senator Moro, because you didn't have an opportunity to contribute to earlier discussion points. There's a question from one Dismas Mokua who is saying that why are they waiting for 2022? Or rather, Hustler legislators have numbers in the two houses. Have they come up with any Hustler-friendly legislation? Why are they waiting for 2022? Have we seen Hustler-friendly policies in the Hustler-controlled counties? And what was your Damascus movement? So what has been stopping you? Because you recently joined the Hustlers movement. I don't know whether it's a bit too late, or one would say that it's unfair to expect you to have moved these policies. But why was it difficult for you to really push for what you now so believe in?
I think it's the disconnect within government where you don't see the issues being addressed. There's no consultation. People want to be in their silos. There are those who keep on lying that things are okay around the presidency, and they want to push everybody who has a contrary opinion, and they make it very, illegitimate for you to question issues. And further to that, the other issue that also comes out is the fact that the implementation arm of what you pass in Parliament is really resident within the executive, which now it is actually in disarray, because then if the two do not agree, then what does it happen? Then the things would be implemented. And further, Sam, remember, it's not that we are not doing these things in Parliament. Personally, I am the highest ranking senator now with 5 bills and 4 more coming. And if you look at the bills that are processing, party primaries bill, constitutional amendment bill, recognition of intersex persons, the bill on persons with disabilities, amending the Universities Act, there are so many things that I'm doing, including the PFM law, capping local domestic borrowing, establishing the public audit office, the parliamentary, audit office bill. Why? Because we have a lot of audit, issues that never get canvassed properly because of time and the lack of expertise in Parliament. There are so many things that I'm trying to push through so that we can have a better Kenya, so that the Hustler nation can actually be realized. And that we are not going to back down because of
But Senator, when you claim that the implementation bit of the things that you pass in Parliament is the problem, how will that change, even if you had to change the political component of government? Because, I mean, the policies remain, the bureaucratic system remains. What will change if you have a Hustler's government?
If it was functioning well in the first term of President Uhuru Kenyatta and Right Honourable Raila, if it was functioning well when, Deputy President William Ruto and Uhuru Kenyatta were in charge, then that is exactly what we want to see, because we believe that Deputy President William Ruto has the capacity to actually ensure that these things happen. And of course, it's not just him, it's a team of all of us, Sam Kituku. It's an opportunity for the younger generation of Kenyans to also, if you call it, rightify what has actually gone wrong with regards to our country, and having an opportunity to actually, redefine our country. Because we have the vision, we have the talent. But it appears that this opportunity really are supposed to be a preserve. They're supposed to be a preserve of a certain group of people, as if they are the only ones who can reason, as if they are the only ones who can have a monopoly of good governance in this country. I think that's what we want to disabuse, that notion. So we have good ideas, we are a team of people, and we are collegiate in our thinking, and we consult a lot so that we make sure that whatever that we are hearing on the ground is implemented. Because what is happening,
Senator,
those people around the handshake are not listening to what the ground is saying.
Senator, who are the people that you think that they have a monopoly of ideas on what should be done?
I think the people who feel like because of their family backgrounds, because of their proximity to power, that they are the only ones who can actually, implement the right things for this country. The bureaucrats around the president, these faceless individuals who call themselves deep state or system people, who actually treat, people's representatives as second-class citizens who do not have nothing to do than getting some few handouts. Those are the kind of people who have made, ourselves to be in this dire state of affairs. People who keep on chasing contracts in government and making sure that they do not actually succeed in implementing the government program, but rather they themselves they are able to enrich themselves. These are the kind of people who do not care about Wanjiko. These are the kind of people who have misplaced priorities. Instead of rebuilding the economy, they want us actually to engage in some shenanigans that are not beneficial to the country.
But whoever they are, I don't know their faces, you say they are faceless, but are they unique to the Kenyatta administration, or they have always been there?
They are more pronounced now because of the confusion of the handshake, because as I have said on this show, that there is a fusion of the monopoly of government and the monopoly of opposition. So in between there, they are thriving. And they would want to maintain a status quo, not for the sake of this country, but for their own personal interest. They calculate. It's about bureaucrats in government and the private sector. For them, their interest is business, and the 10% to 20% kickbacks that they receive, from whatever quotas that associate with them. Those are the kind of people that are really, insular. They make their minds insular to the real realities of the people. Otherwise, how do you understand the mismatch that you see between the poverty that is all of our country and the largesse that we see, in some of them, the kind of opulence that they exhibit. And they do this with the complete abandon. In the shadows
but Senator, when you say that, I have asked you a question whether they are next to the Kenyatta administration, but you said they are more pronounced. So I would assume that there were such people also in the Kibaki administration, Moi administration, and even Jomo Kenyatta administration. So what will wipe them out if at all? Of course, the regime has to change when it comes to 2022. So what will wipe them out, and how can you assure Kenyans that such kind of people will not be there, and that members of parliament or politicians will not continue getting richer and richer like they have historically?
Sam, this new consciousness of the hustler nation is exactly the point, because we are trying to divert, attention from what is actually, smoke screens and red herrings, things that are used to distract Kenyans from the real problem. We know for sure tribe has been used to divide Kenyans, and if out of that, these people actually benefit, largely because they incite Kenyans against one another based on tribe, so that they themselves can actually be able to get the big pie when everybody is getting crumbs.
Okay.
So we want to have an honest conversation so they can be smoked out, and so that we agree on a new paradigm on how we can ensure that actually the interests and concerns of Mama Mboga, the wheelbarrow user, the tuk-tuk driver actually count at the table.
Okay. All right, Senator Mora. And Caleb Kositanyi, so hearing Isaac Mora, of course, you now belong to the same side of politics, but when you listen to that, how possible is it to fight against what you call a system or a deep state or people who are behind the scenes that want to control power, a phenomenon that has been in existence in the history of government, not just in Kenya, but in other regions?
Well, I think, Sam, it's not easy. And that is why we want to, we've decided to change the discussion. We've decided to come up with a hustler nation narrative so that we can get people into government who will buy in to the idea of empowering the common mwananchi. I had you ask Senator Mwaura why we can't do that now, yet we're in parliament and we are passing. Yes, we may pass the necessary laws in parliament, but the implementers go and frustrate our efforts, and you end up not having done what you really intended to do, because the priorities are different. So we want to come in with a government that will have the priorities of the common mwananchi on the first page, and those for the leaders on the other pages at the back. But let me say this, because I'm seeing we're almost running out of time. I've just seen the clip you played about Orengo at the DCI, and I think it's very sad to see a senior lawyer who has been an inspiration to many, like James Orengo. Now he's acting like a briefcase lawyer because of the political desperation that is there. And the whole of this scheme is about the Machakos senatorial by-election. I think things are very hot for Wiper. They don't seem to be appearing on the leading contenders. Their candidate doesn't seem to be appearing on the leading contenders. I am told, I don't know how true this is, Sam, that the contest is between UDA and Maendeleo Chap. I think Wiper may come in at distant third or fourth. And this is that kind of desperation. But I think Orengo is not the person to summon. I mean, Orengo has no power to say now that William Ruto will be summoned to the DCI on this particular time and he has to come and record the statement. I think Orengo should play his role as advisor to ODM and Handshake and BBI, and leave the DCI to do what they have to do. And this desperation should not really take them to the levels that they're sinking too low. This is going to DCI to top dress and try and cut and raise on issues that are really not there. I listened to the Deputy President, and at no time did he mention Kalonzo Musyoka. At no time. If you can look for that clip, the Deputy President did not mention. He says wengine na wanaishi shamba ya kuibiwa, but he never mentioned anybody's name. But I don't know why Kalonzo said now he has mentioned me.
Who was he referring to?
I don't know. I don't know who he was referring to. I don't know who he was referring to, but he never mentioned Kalonzo Musyoka. He never. So,
I mean, you're the politician here, and there's a way that you people do your things. But what I'm asking is the question of accountability, that whoever claims has to prove. So how accountable would you want to see politicians? That everything that you start on the podium to say is backed by evidence, because Kenyans listen to you and they believe in you, they follow what you say.
True. I would want every politician to be held accountable for his words and actions. And it is where the Kenya that we want to head to. It is the Kenya that we want, that every politician should be made to be held accountable for the utterances they make, especially now going forward during this political period, campaign period. You should be able to back up with serious evidence, clear evidence, whatever you claim, so that we stop this issue of just bad-mouthing people and tagging people with mudslinging people without any tangible facts.
Right, and of course I'll be looking at some of the feedback that has been coming through, that you've been sending via Citizen TV, at Sam Gituku, hashtag being daybreak. I don't know whether we have Tim Wanyonyi now to raise a few questions about, but all the same, as we try to get in touch with Tim. So Caleb, looking at, of course, so many things happening at the moment. I wish we had time to talk about the installation, or rather the naming of one Gideon Moi, the Baringo senator, as an elder of the Kalenjin community. I mean, what role will this political community endorsements, where you see people going to have meetings with different elders across different parts of the country, what role should it play when it comes to politics of the nation and even the race towards 2022?
Well, you know, we have a cultural background, and there is a Swahili saying that Msao Mila ni mtumwa, and we have to live with those cultures that we have. And being installed culturally as a leader of your community is something that we cannot run away from. But one thing that we need to know is that at any one time there can only be one leader well, at least let me speak on the Kalenjin perspective, that only one leader can be installed at a particular time. That is why President Moi was installed, and there was no other leader that was installed until after President Moi, then William Ruto was installed. So it is something that we cannot run away from. It is significant in a way because of the community will hold and say, we have at least one person who can speak for us, who we can look up to. When we have issues, he can be the one that will help us address those issues. So I think it is something that should go on, but it should not cloud us so much that we now want to run all over trying to look for endorsement, even if it is not a genuine endorsement. I don't think that is the way to go. We actually need to respect the cultural values that are attached to those ceremonies. Okay,
and I'm told that we have Tim back on the line. Tim, we're just preparing to wind up, but the same question that we saw the lawyers James Orengo and One Mutula Kilonzo Jr. going to the DCI to record a statement, and I was asking about the political responsibility of people that make claims, how much of evidence they should table, but also what is your thinking when it comes to community, elders, and politics in the country, and what role should it play when it comes to 2022 succession race?
You look at the leadership of any place, everything starts local. For somebody to be propelled to national leadership, first of all, he must be recognized locally. And that's why when Musalia Mudavadi was saying that people should not gamble,
he means that the Luhya nation must appreciate their own leaders before they even go out to look for, to enjoy with other communities across the country. So even Gideon Moi being installed by the Kalenjin elders, and as Honorable Costanya said, the deputy president had already been installed after President Moi. It just shows that there is a recognition of these are the leaders of the Kalenjin nation. And it's not just about William Ruto. William Ruto is the leader. Gideon Moi is also recognized in his own rights as a leader of the Kalenjin nation. And it happens all over the place. So that should not be something that should be condemned or should be taken as if it's owned by a few people, by certain individuals. So for me, politics is local, and being recognized locally, it is quite in order. And the issue of Honorable Orengo and Tula Kilonzo, you know them, they are lawyers. They have been instructed by their client, who is the Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, to defend his rights, because if a deputy president met those allegations, I think he should have some evidence to that effect that indeed Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka grabbed land or did whatever he did. So if that's not substantiated or proved, then Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka is entitled to defend his name and also clear his name, because if you make defamatory remarks in a public, you are actually destroying the character of that person. So he's supposed to make the right of it and demand that you withdraw and apologize, or you make good your allegation.
Okay, but Honorable Tim, as we wind up, so you said that politics is local and therefore you cannot ignore the sort of endorsements, or is it people being named as community leaders? But how seriously should Kenyans take it? Because it's at a time that there are several conversations that any community now should be having an opportunity to lead the nation, but also saying that we should drop the politics of tribe. So what should Kenyans be thinking as they approach 2022 August?
You know, we cannot pretend that we can only play politics at the national level. Before you get to national level, you must have started from somewhere. Like for myself, I'm an MP for Westlands. If the Westlands constituency endorsed me to go for something else, then I move forward knowing very well that my backyard is strongly behind me. And you know, even anybody who wants to be a presidential candidate, you know, you must have a base. Where are you coming from? What do you have? Even when you are negotiating with others, what are you bringing on the table? It's not just about your community, but what are you bringing on the table? You have a support that is solid. You have a support that is not, it's not weak. So the other people will trust you with the that you are bringing on the table, and then you can negotiate on that. And in this country, we cannot run away from that. This community alignment are there, and nobody can lie to it. President Uhuru Kenyatta is besides being a president of Kenya, he's a leader of the Kikuyu, and on, and you can name all of them, and we know very well that this is something we are not trying to make the tribal state, but for you to be a national leader, you start from a base, and that's the foundation that has been built for you.
Okay. All right. And thank you so much, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi from Westlands constituency. I want us to take a look at the feedback, then we can wind up, starting with who? On Twitter, different voices via Citizen TV Kenya. Philip Mbithikisu is saying that what has denied these people the opportunity to lobby for hustler-related issues throughout their political lifespan up to now? What have they done for the last over 8 years when they have been in power for the hustlers? That is responding to the conversation. Then someone else, this is Kisui Philip. This is just a divisive strategy to access power. If you have the concern of hustlers at heart, you should be showing a life that reflects the concerns of the hustlers. You should be enumerating what you have done for the hustlers throughout your life. And then, Sheikh, you said that what Caleb Kosetanyi is narrating is not the bottom-up economy they talk about, but still them sitting up there making the budget for the millions. Why didn't they do this since 2013 as the Jubilee Party? Of course, he has had an opportunity to speak about that. Then, Noel, you said that we have been around just as long as these politicians have been around. Everything happening or being said now, we have seen it before. Wheelbarrow, Hustler, BBI, don't resonate. Very specific issues have to be addressed. And finally, Maurice, you're saying that these are just 2022 jittery reactions. Their term is expiring with nearly nothing accomplished. Raila Odinga didn't carry away money allocated for projects after the handshake. And those are some of the views that are coming from the viewers. It's up to the politicians to see how to respond to them, to convince the Kenyans, and the Kenyan will make their decision. Someone there says that there are no specific issues that are being raised on or specific solutions, which is what Kenyans are really looking out for, because like I told you, 58 years, politicians have been there, but still the challenges remain. That's our time on the conversation about the state of politics. Up next is Sporting Monday. Mukami Wambora will be leading the team to talk about the action of the weekend and why Man U is still looking great and why Liverpool is not looking as great after the break.